Get on me like that. No, you need support of people.
That breaking news is out of Clay County, where a husband and wife were found shot to death overnight. The Clay County Sheriff says the couple's 14-year-old son called 911 early this morning, saying he had killed both of them.
Have you ever wondered what goes on behind the closed doors of a seemingly perfect family? What kind of arguments happen when no one else is around to hear? What does it take for a family, so loved and so normal on the outside, to be completely shattered? These questions haunted the small community of Middleburg, Florida, on August 4th, 2025. That night, something happened inside the home of David Lee and Brandi Smith that tore a hole in the heart of their quiet town. That was the call that brought the nightmare to life. A 14-year-old boy, Trevor Lee, confessed to a double homicide. His voice was calm, almost detached, as he detailed the unthinkable. But it was his next move, walking to a nearby church to wait for police, that turned a simple crime into a deep, complex mystery. Who was Trevor Lee? Was he a cold-blooded killer or a lost boy caught in an unexplainable moment of rage? To understand what happened, we can't just look at the crime. We have to go back to the family behind it. The central question is this: what truly led this loving son to take the lives of the two people who raised him? We'll search for the answers, not in a dark alley, but inside a home that was supposed to be a safe haven. Welcome to True Crime Footprint, where we unveil the darkest mysteries and the most terrifying true crime tales. Kindly subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our new stories. Your support keeps these stories alive. On that fateful Monday, just after midnight, a 911 operator received a call that would forever change the small town of Middleburg. The caller was a 14-year-old boy, and his voice was devoid of panic. 911 operator, VO 911, what's your emergency? Trevor Lee, I just killed my parents. Trevor didn't stop there. He told the operator that he'd left the gun at the house and was walking to a church nearby. As the operator tried to keep him on the line, he said something that was so out of place, so full of sorrow, it created a stark contradiction. He said he needed to pray. This was not a boy trying to escape. It was a boy seeking a sanctuary after committing the ultimate sin.
We're seeing the face of the teen who stands accused of killing his parents. 14-year-old Trevor Lee facing 2 counts of second-degree murder. And for the first time tonight, we're hearing his voice in the newly released 911 dispatch recording. I want to warn you, hearing the call may be disturbing.
Can you pray?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, I'll listen to you. Well, I was going to ask if you could pray for me, ma'am. Right now, I'll definitely be praying for you, son.
Investigators say Lee was outside a church when he dialed 911 and reported himself. He stayed on the phone until deputies got to his location and took him into custody.
News4Jax reporter Eric Avenaz here in studio with us with more on this new information he obtained in this case. Eric?
Yeah, we were able to acquire a lot more information than what we had yesterday when we first reported this story. Now, we now know where in the house the parents were killed and the extent of their fatal injuries. We also found out that the 14-year-old called his aunt in California before he called 911 to turn himself in. Just one day after 44-year-old David Lee and 45-year-old Brandi Smith were found shot to death inside their Silver Oak subdivision home in Middleburg, News4Jax has learned the couple was in their bed when they were shot multiple times. Both were pronounced deceased when paramedics arrived. Investigators identified the killer as the couple's son, 14-year-old Trevor Lee. After the parents were murdered, Lee called his aunt in California. She then called Clay County 911 dispatch. What her nephew told her was redacted from the 911 recording.
They're in the house, please. Send help, immediately, ambulance, whatever, immediately.
The teen traveled to a nearby church parking lot and called 911. He stayed on the line until deputies arrived to take him into custody.
I'm by the road. I threw my backpack away from me. I'm stripped. I'm waiting for police. What do you mean you're stripped? I have nothing in my pocket. I emptied my pockets and everything. There's nothing in my pockets.
While most of his conversation with the dispatcher was redacted, we hear him ask the dispatcher to pray for him.
You pray?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, I'll listen to you. Well, I was going to ask if you could pray for me, ma'am. Right now, I'll definitely be praying for you, son.
These parents are dead in their bed. And
Retired JSO Director of Investigations turned News4JAX crime and safety analyst Tom Hackney says this was no doubt a heinous crime carried out by a kid, but he also says the fact that the teen called 911 to surrender himself says something.
instant remorse. When you hear the sound of his voice and you hear kind of what he's going through, aside from the redacted part, you hear some instant remorse. And I think that's kind of bolstered by the fact that he left the scene and goes immediately to call 911 and turn himself in.
Deputies rushed to both the family's home and the Crosspoint Church. At 3:48 a.m., they found Trevor Lee waiting, just as he said he would be. He was taken into custody without a fight. His calm surrender stood in sharp contrast to the violence he had just confessed to. At the home, the grim reality set in. David Lee and Brandi Smith were found dead from gunshot wounds. The quiet community of Middleburg was now the center of a homicide investigation. The community reeled from the news. How could this happen? The Lees were a loving family. Neighbors described them as happy, funny, and always joking. Trevor's best friend, Kyrie Beman, who spent almost every week at their home, said they were the best family I knew. They even told him they loved him like a son. Kyrie's words, his love for the family, only deepens the central question. What truly led this loving son to take the lives of the two people who raised him? When asked about Trevor, Kyrie's grief was mixed with a fierce loyalty. He couldn't reconcile the boy he knew with the crime he committed. Kyrie Beman, he's not a bad person just 'cause he made one bad decision. I don't want him just to be known as a killer or a murderer. I pray the Trevor that did this died last night. His words spoke for an entire community trying to make sense of the senseless. Sheriff Michelle Cook confirmed the shooting came from a domestic argument, but she didn't offer any details. What could have been said that night to trigger such an explosive reaction? What do you think could lead a child to this point? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. On the surface, the story seems simple. A domestic dispute turned deadly. The community thought they knew this family. We thought we knew them, but this will change everything. No, seriously, this will change everything. We're about to look closer at what really happened in that house. The immediate details from Sheriff Michelle Cook were clear. This was the end result of a heated argument between Trevor and his parents on Sunday night. But the official report, the police statements, they can't capture the full weight of that final fight. What we do know is that a simple disagreement turned into something far more volatile, something that broke the ties of love and family. What could have been said that night? What kind of words could push a 14-year-old to grab a gun? When deputies entered the house, they didn't just find a crime scene. They found the tragic end of a life. The home that Kyrie Beman described as full of laughter was now silent. The gun, which belonged to the parents, lay on the floor. Trevor's decision to leave it behind was a subtle but important detail. It supported the idea of an impulsive act, a moment of pure emotion. But investigators quickly realized there had to be more to the story. They began to dig into Trevor's background, looking for a reason beyond a single argument. Sheriff Cook announced that they would be investigating Trevor's mental health history and his life in school. It suggested a silent struggle, a hidden pain that no one on the outside could see. This tragic night wasn't just a random explosion. It was the final result of something that had been building for a very long time. There's one more piece of this puzzle, a final message left for his best friend, that changes how we view Trevor's final moments. Did you catch it? We'll get there soon. As we've searched for answers, the central question has remained. What truly led this loving son to take the lives of the two people who raised him? To find our final piece of the puzzle, we have to go back to Trevor's best friend, Kyrie Beman.
He told me that he loved me, and he told me that he was just calling to tell me good night. Trevor isn't a bad person. He made some bad mistakes, and he will suffer the consequences of them, but that's not all he was.
She was a happy person. I mean, yeah, a good person all the way around.
James Lewis is cousins with Brandi Smith and says her family was like any other.
Every time I seen them laughing, joking, doing family things.
2 parents gone, a teen behind bars, and a Middleburg community now rattled forever.
The Trevor that did this, I don't know that Trevor. And the Trevor that I knew and all of our friends knew, I will continue to be friends with him. And I pray that the Trevor that did this died last night.
Kyrie's final conversation with Trevor was just hours before the shooting. The 2 friends were on the phone, talking like normal. But as the conversation was ending, Trevor did something he had never done before. He told his best friend he loved him, and he said he was calling to say goodnight. In the light of what happened just a short time later, this simple, heartfelt goodbye takes on a heartbreaking new meaning. Was it a final plea for help? A last moment of clarity? We may never know for sure. But in his final moments of freedom, Trevor's last words weren't of anger or hatred, but of love. This final detail complicates the narrative, turning the young killer into a conflicted boy who was, for whatever reason, at a point of no return. The investigation is still active, and the full story of the Middleburg tragedy is still being written. We don't know the exact words said in that final argument, and we don't know the full story of Trevor's mental health. The ultimate legal fate of Trevor Lee is yet to be determined.
For it to get to that point to where you feel like that was the only option he had is the saddest thing that you could possibly think of, for sure. Especially I related to my own daughter. My daughter's 13, so to see that is terrifying, mortifying, all the adjectives you could use.
The community is left with a profound question. How do we prevent a tragedy like this from happening again? This story reminds us that the bonds of family are fragile. Parents, remember to listen more than you speak, and to create a space where your children feel safe to share their struggles without judgment. The best way to be at peace with your kids is to truly connect with them. If this story moved you, please like and subscribe to join us as we continue to uncover the footprints of true crime. Our hearts ache for David Lee and Brandi Lee's family. Words feel inadequate, but please know you are held in deepest sympathy and prayers. May you find strength and comfort in their memories. Thank you for watching, for your attention, and for joining us on this journey of reflection. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and above all, stay safe. See you on our next video.